a brutal defeat. Players looked flat, no energy, full of mistakes, but we move. All eyes now on the Europa League and the season ahead. A Rangers legend torn apart by Chris Sutton, Jack Butland branded a huge problem. A Swedish star begging for a return to the royal blue. Contract chaos before the clash with Athletic, and Rabbi Matondo called a failure in Germany. Want the full story? Stick around till the end. You don't want to miss this. Rangers slumped to a brutal 2-0 defeat at Ibrox against Hibs, and like a seagull spotting a half-eaten chippy, Chris Sutton swooped straight in to tear into Barry Ferguson and the team. You knew he'd be foaming at the mouth for a result like this, and of course, he was on social media within minutes. Bazball, he sniped, mocking Barry Ferguson's stewardship with a dig that's more smug than clever. And while you'd normally roll your eyes and write Sutton off as a bitter ex-Celtic mouthpiece, this time you've got to admit there's no hiding from the facts. That display on Saturday was nowhere near good enough. Not at Ibrox. Not with that badge on your chest. Dylan Levitt and Martin Boyle ran riot, while Rangers looked like they were still on the team bus. No urgency, no cohesion. Just 3 shots on target across 90 minutes, and that's supposed to be a team fighting for silverware? Come on, the real concern is the lack of identity. Under Barry, it's been patchy at best, moments of grit away at Celtic and Dundee, but nothing consistent and nothing convincing. At Ibrox, it's been even worse. Not a single home win since February. That's an embarrassment. And no amount of penalties against Fenerbahce can mask the fact we're looking toothless in front of our own support. But here's what really gets the blood boiling. It's Sutton's not wrong to say this team looks lost. That performance was flat, clueless, and completely devoid of belief. There was no intensity, no real tactical spark, and far too many passengers in blue shirts. When a Celtic pundit's mockery actually lands because there's no comeback, you know we're in trouble. And Barry Ferguson is a Rangers legend, no question, but right now, legends don't win matches, management does, and this team desperately needs leadership, identity, and proper direction. If Barry Ferguson can't turn it around at Ibrox, should Rangers be brave enough to say thanks for the memories and cut ties before his legacy on the pitch is overshadowed by this uninspiring spell in the dugout? Jack Butland is in the firing line, and for good reason. The same man who had you dreaming after that heroic penalty shootout against Fenerbahce is now being torn apart for mistakes that simply cannot happen at a club like Rangers, especially not with everything on the line. That clangor against Hibs, unforgivable. Dylan Levitt's strike was decent, sure, but you expect your number one to get down and deal with it? Instead, the ball squirms under him like a Sunday League keeper caught thinking about his post-match pint. At Ibrox, in front of that crowd, that's the kind of mistake that changes the mood of a whole stadium. Michael Stewart didn't hold back on Sports Scene either. He called it what it was, a massive problem. Butland isn't just having a dip, he's making far too many regular mistakes. And now Barry Ferguson's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Drop him, you risk torpedoing his confidence completely. Keep him in, you're praying he doesn't cost you another crucial goal. And here's the real kicker. This isn't some mid-table dead rubber. Rangers are about to face Athletic Bilbao in a European quarter-final. The margins are razor thin. One mistake from your keeper and that dream of lifting a European trophy turns into just another what could have been story. And for Barry, who's desperate to earn that job permanently, it's all on a knife's edge. Let's be real. Butland was superb for large parts of the season. He looked like a leader, but right now, he's a liability. And the thing with liabilities is they get punished at the highest level against a side like Athletic. With sharp forwards and no mercy, he'll be tested. And if he's not up to it, you're out. If Jack Butland drops another clangor in Europe, does Barry Ferguson have the guts to drop him for the biggest matches of the season? Or will loyalty to reputation cost Rangers a shot at glory? Right, get a load of this. Robbie Ure, the former Rangers Academy lad, has made it crystal clear that his heart still beats for Ibrox, even after packing his bags and heading off to Sweden. Now, 21, Ure had a sniff at the first team back in the 2022-23 season, just 2 appearances, mind you. He was offered a new deal, a proper chance to stay at Rangers, but he fancied regular game time, so off he went to RSCA Futures, the youthy wing of Anderlecht in Belgium. Over 2 seasons, he banged in 12 goals in 38 matches, but first team opportunities, just the one. No surprise then when he jumped ship in March, moving to IK Sirius Football for a fee reported around £630,000. And here's the bit that'll warm your heart, or maybe twist the knife, depending on how you see it. Speaking to journalist Mark Walker, Ure confessed he still dreams of coming back to Ibrox. Not just him, mind, his whole family are staunch Rangers supporters. It was a dream for me, growing up as a Rangers supporter, he said. It would be very nice for me and my family to return. That's no throwaway comment. That's the kind of stuff that makes you wonder if he sees himself pulling on the royal blue again someday. He's started brightly in Sweden, grabbing 2 assists on his debut. The Sirius boss called him a classic 9. You love to hear it. And fair play, Ure's being smart about his career path. He reckons Sweden gives him a platform to play senior football consistently, and even name-dropped Yusuf Salic, who used Sirius as a springboard to Cardiff City. Ure's thinking long-term. He wants minutes, development, and then who knows. He admitted he didn't know much about the Swedish league before the move, but he's learning fast. He's got the hunger, the grit, and he's chasing something bigger. But here's the big one for you. Robbie Ure turned down Rangers once already. If he comes knocking in a few years, older and wiser, should Rangers open the door again? Or did he blow his chance when he walked away from Ibrox the first time? Right, here we go. Another twist in the tale as Rangers gear up for a monumental European night under the lights at Ibrox. It's Athletic Bilbao next in the Europa League quarterfinals, and while the buzz is building, there's a cloud hanging over the squad. Let's start with the facts. Rangers made it through a brutal Europa League group campaign, scraped into 8th, and then showed real bottle under Barry Ferguson to dump Fenerbahce out. Away in Turkey, backs against the wall, and then Jack Butland writes himself into Ibrox folklore with a penalty shootout masterclass. That's the kind of Rangers spirit you love to see. But now, just as the stakes are rising, Rangers are hit with a double blow. John Souttar and Mohamed Diamande are both suspended for the first leg against Athletic, thanks to yellow cards picked up against Fenerbahce. And listen, missing Souttar at the back when you're up against the pace and trickery of Nico Williams, who's being circled by Europe's big sharks, and the possible return of goal machine Oyhan Sanset. That's massive. Now, and yet, Souttar's reaction? Spot on. Speaking ahead of the Hibs game, he said, I'm suspended for Thursday, so it'll be a hard watch for me. But it's not about me, it's about the team, so if I don't play and we win, I couldn't care less. That's what you want to hear from a Rangers man. He gets it. It's Ibrox over everything, but here's where things start to feel a wee bit dicey. Souttar's contract situation. On ice, talks have stopped. Why? Because of the circus swirling above the football department. No sporting director. The boardroom dancing to the rhythm of a potential American takeover, and nobody certain who'll even be in the dugout next season. Souttar's words say it all. There is so much going on at the club just now. When there is some stability, that'll get sorted. He wants to stay. He's playing well, but this is a lad who's not been spoken to for a while about a new deal, despite being one of the few consistent rocks at the back. If Rangers lose him because the boardroom's too busy sorting handshakes and paperwork, you've got to ask, what exactly are the priorities right now? If John Souttar walks away this summer because of contract dithering and off-field chaos, would you point the finger at the player for waiting? or at the board for failing to tie down a proper Rangers centre-half when they had the chance. Rabbi Matondo, the $2 million man who was meant to dazzle at Ibrox, now stumbling his way through yet another underwhelming chapter, this time in Germany. You'd think returning to familiar territory might spark something in him, but instead it's just the same old story in a different shirt. Let's not forget when he joined Rangers. There was real excitement. He had that Manchester City Academy Polish, pace to burn, and experience in the Bundesliga. But what did we get? A highlight reel that lasted about 4 minutes and a string of anonymous performances that would leave you wondering if he was even on the pitch. Now, at Hanover, he kicked things off with a belter against Hamburg. Folks started whispering, maybe, just maybe, he's turned a corner. But let's be honest, if Matondo's career had a theme tune, it would be one lonely high note followed by a long, awkward silence. Since that goal, nothing. Not a goal, not an assist, not even a start since early February. And the German media are now doing what Rangers supporters have been doing for ages, shaking their heads. Liga 2 called his start spectacular, but say he's completely failed to back it up. A flash in the pan followed by 7 matches of going missing when it matters. Hanover, understandably, are now looking at that €1 million buy clause like it's radioactive. And let's be clear, if he comes back to Ibrox this summer, it's not with a point to prove, it's with more questions than answers. We're not a rehabilitation clinic for underperforming wingers. There's a standard expected in that blue shirt, and right now, Matondo's not even close to meeting it. If Rabbi Matondo returns to Ibrox, should Rangers even let him near pre-season, or has he already had more chances than he deserves? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.